Okay, it's 6:30. So I guess I'm going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start by speaking slowly because I know people are going to slowly filter in. We're also expecting some beverages and some coffee to keep you awake, a couple of pastries, some cheese and crackers, I hope, some nuts, so a few little snacks. No brownies. We have arugula coming. So welcome. My name is Susan Scanlon, and I am sort of the coordinator of this along with a great team of some other folks who I'm going to introduce shortly. I don't know how I got myself into this, but it's been a wonderful experience. So this is year 2. I started this last year, was our first year participating, or actually running this Mid-Hudson Regional Business Plan competition, and it was, I think, an enormous success for year 1. And so now here we are again, year 2, and we're really excited. We think it's going to be even better. And it's going to be in our big new renovated student center on the other side of campus, where we have wonderful space, and it's just really exciting. So we're very excited about the competition this year. So here tonight, the reason we're doing this tonight is just really to give you some information. Is that catering? Do you want to set up on this side?
Yeah, I'm just getting the linen and everything.
Okay, and I can talk over you, so don't worry. Okay. So this is just to give you some information. And everything we do tonight is going to be taped, and it's going to be on the website. So if anybody couldn't make it tonight, they can always go and check it out on the website. So it's always there for you to review. But it's nice to have you here in person because you may have questions. And this is your opportunity for live Q&A. But my information is all over the website, so you can always email me with any questions. I may not always have the answers immediately at my fingertips, but I can get the answers for you by emailing New York State, the folks in the state competition, because this is the regional competition that's tied to the New York State competition that takes place in Albany, which we're going to talk about. The first thing I just wanted to point out to you is the email address, not the email address, the website address for the Mid-Hudson Regional Business Plan competition. So if you click on that, you will see everything you need to know about the competition. And these slides will also be posted on the website. But any of the posters that I've sent to you that are all around campus, there's a little QR code. You can just stick your phone on there and get to the website. But the website is basically marist.edu/MHRBC, Mid-Hudson Regional Business Plan Competition. I think I got all the initials. So it's pretty simple to remember. Let's go back to the slides. So first, I'd like to thank our regional champions. We have schools from across the 7-county region of the Mid-Hudson Valley who have agreed to champion this event and try to get some teams together. And we're really excited because last year when we did this for the first time, we had, of course, a lot of teams from Marist. We had some teams from Dutchess, from New Paltz, and from SUNY Ulster. And we were really thrilled. This year, we're really excited because we have participation from Mount St. Mary College, we have Orange, SUNY Orange, and we have the Culinary, and we still have our friends from SUNY Ulster, Dutchess, and New Paltz. And we're still working on getting more. We can have school participation from anywhere in the 7-county region that you see in our little logo up at the top of the page. So spread the word. So first, I want to thank the folks that are really kind of taking a lead role and have volunteered or been volunteered by someone else, but found themselves in this position. So I'd like to thank them personally if they're in the room tonight, and if they're not, I'm going to thank them anyway. So first, if you could stand up when I say your name. David Gavin from Marist College and Tony DeMarco, they are part of our planning committee, our overall planning committee. And I could not do this without them, so they are extremely helpful. And then our regional champions, we have Kathleen Boyle from our own school here at Marist College from the School of Communication and the Arts. She had a team participate last year, and she is championing it for the School of Communication and the Arts, and I don't see her here tonight, but thank you, Kathy. We have Jim Regan, who is here tonight. Where are you? There he is. Great, from the School, from the School of Social and Behavioral Sciences. So we're really thrilled to have you here, Jim. Thank you for spreading the word. Mindy Cole from SUNY Ulster. Yeah, thank you. Don Ermston, are you here? Hi, nice to meet you. And Don is from SUNY Orange, so we're thrilled to have you participate this year. And we have other folks from SUNY Orange here too. Yes, hi. Okay, we also have Andrew Weiss from Mount St. Mary College. Andrew, are you here? No, but we thank him anyway. Lori Nutting from SUNY New Paltz. Okay. Michael Araujo, I don't know how to pronounce it, from Dutchess Community. He sent a team last year, or several teams last year, so he knows the rules of the game, so he's certainly going to participate again. And we have Annette Graham, Cameron Raby, and Jean Marist from the Culinary Institute of America. So thank you, folks. And I also want to thank a special guest tonight, Arnaldo Severin, if you wouldn't mind standing up. Arnaldo is the director of the New York State Small Business Development Center for the Mid-Hudson region, correct? Am I correct in that? And Arnaldo has agreed to be a judge at our competition. And he's also going to either come back himself or bring a team of folks from your organization to do a workshop for our applicants, the folks who send in an application for this competition, to kind of help you with the whole business plan process. So we really want this to be not only an opportunity to launch a business potentially, but also to be a great educational experience. You know, even if you're not ready to launch this business, but it should be a really rich educational experience. So let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of the competition, so you have all the rules and you understand how it's all going to work. This is open to all undergraduate and graduate students from accredited colleges in our region. That's the 7-county region. And don't ask me to name those counties. Well, I can because they're up there. Sullivan, Ulster, Dutchess, Putnam, Westchester, Rockland, and Orange. So any schools from that region can send students to this competition. The teams have to be enrolled in the 2013 to 2014 academic year. So in some cases, they may have graduated last semester, but that's okay. They can still enroll as long as they were a student in the 2013-2014 academic year. Teams can have just one person and up to 6 people. You can have more folks involved in your business, but only 6 people can be on the application and only up to 6 people can present at the competition. Okay? You must have a faculty or staff advisor, somebody who is giving you guidance, giving you some support, emotional or otherwise, probably not financial, but you know, food, cupcakes, whatever, and emotional guidance, educational guidance, technical advice. So you should have somebody tied to your team that's a faculty or staff person from your academic institution. And this is important. The ventures should fall into one of these 6 categories. And I think that almost anything you can think of would fall into one of these 6 categories. Biotechnology and healthcare, information technology and software development, nanotechnology or advanced technology, clean energy or sustainability, products and services, and social nonprofit. Those are the 6 categories that you can participate under. Now you may say that your product or that your proposal fits in products and services, but we may look at it and say, you know, we know kind of how the state works, and we may tell you, no, actually it fits into software IT. Okay, so we have the right, we reserve the right to adjust where you belong, because we kind of know what the big event looks like, and we want to make sure you're in the right place in terms of competing. You may only participate in one team each year at the competition. So if you have multiple ideas, you pick out the one you really want to pursue, and you can only do one for the competition. But by the way, if you participate and you're you know, a sophomore or you're a first-year graduate student and you don't quite win the top prize this year, you can come back with the same team and participate again next year with the same product idea. And actually the team that won 2 years ago at the state level, that was like their 3rd time participating, and they won $50,000, okay? It was worth the wait, it was worth the effort. But so you can come back year over year as long as you're still a student and you're still eligible. Okay, this is another eligibility requirement. You cannot have, I don't think this is too much of a problem for most of us, you cannot have raised more than $100,000 already. Is that a problem for anyone? All right, and you must own the business. It must be student-owned 100%. So if, Uncle Joe is part owner of the company, you better enroll Uncle Joe in a college in the Mid-Hudson region, okay? Because they have to be students. It has to be 100% student owned. This is kind of small to read, but I'm going to just speak to it. Last year, we were able to put up all the winners from the state competition from 2013 so that you could see all the prizes. There were, huge amounts of money given out at the state competition. But actually, they haven't updated their website yet. We're way ahead of them in the Mid-Hudson region. So I couldn't give you the 2012 winners, 2013 winners, but I can tell you that there's over $225,000 in cash and in-kind prizes available for folks who win at the state level. I wish I could tell you that's available at the regional level. We're still working on raising money at the regional level. We do have mixed nuts and coffee and other beverages, but we are going to try to raise money. We're continuing to do that so that we could offer prizes at the Mid-Hudson regional level. But basically, there's tremendous amounts of money available, and we are going to award the top 2 teams from each of those 6 categories an opportunity to participate at the state level. You'll also get a lovely certificate from us, and hopefully money if we can raise it, okay? There will also be another prize. There's going to be a new category that we're going to have this year, which is the overall best written business plan and best presentation. And I'm going to show you what the criteria is going to be on all of these things. And the reason we did that is because the judging panel for both the regional competition and the state competition are real investors. These are angels, these are private investors, venture capitalists, these are bankers, community leaders, and they sometimes are looking at what would I invest in. It's like Shark Tank, are you ready to hit the market? Are you ready to hit the streets? Do you have customers? But we want this to really be a solid educational experience. We want you to really learn how to develop a good, solid business plan. So there's that prize as well for the top business plan. And I think that there's value in both in terms of the judges. I mean, I've seen people win with excellent business plans at the state level, and then I've seen people win who just have an unbelievable idea with some customers in their pockets. So it could go either way. So we're going to have both of those prizes available. Okay, so just to summarize what we had, these are some of the teams that went from our regional competition last year to the state. And we did have 2 teams, for the very first time that we sent people, 2 teams won $1,000 each for the People's Choice Award. So the audience votes. The judges didn't choose them, but the audience voted. And by the way, the competition was intense. I mean, it was enormous. This is from the whole state of New York, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So we were really pleased that 2 of our teams won $1,000 each. So the New York State competition also has a website, but again, it's not updated, so we'll just click on it really quickly there and I'll show you. See, it still has 2012 winners. They're a little slow over in Albany. Nobody here from Albany, right? Okay, but you can click on there and take a look at their web pages. But this is a little history, which I think is very interesting, how this competition has grown at the state level, and why I'm so passionate about it. I started working on this because I was on a grant, a National Science Foundation grant with College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering in Albany, and I was on a grant with them to help them with outreach for energy efficiency, sustainable practices, and I can't even remember, a few years ago. But I got involved with their business plan competition, and this was back in, I believe, 2011. And I was so impressed with the competition that I decided to champion it at this regional level. So they have grown tremendously, and I'm going to show you how it's grown. In 2010, they had 5 participating institutions and 15 judges, and they awarded $25,000. It's a little more than mixed nuts and coffee, which is not a bad way to start, God bless. 2011, 12 institutions, 20 investor judges, and $116,000. In 2012, they had awarded $166,000. In 2013, $500,000 in prizes and in-kind services, but a lot of cash. It's a lot of cash that they award. So because they had grown, they decided to make this a slightly different type of an event, not just invite colleges from across the state to participate, but to actually organize it by the 10 Economic Development Council regions across the state, and they're laid out right here for you. And they have champions from each of these regions, champion schools. Marist is the champion school for Mid-Hudson. That's actually putting together these regional competitions and sending the top 2 teams from each category to the state. And I'm going to sneak in that other winner, the overall business plan. They're going to let me because, you know, I help them out a lot. So they are now a very organized, very competitive event. And now they anticipate even larger prizes. They have lots of sponsorship. It's really taking off. And the hope is that this New York State competition will rival, you know, the Rice competition and, you know, all of the other major business plan competitions. Yes. And I'm telling you, this is going to get there because it's really amazing, the exponential growth. And of course, in addition to winning, which would be wonderful, ventures get to showcase your business idea. You get to talk to investors. You get to meet investors. You get to meet prominent community leaders. Last year we had Sean Eldridge here, was one of our judges. We're hoping he'll come back again. He may be very busy with his campaign because he's campaigning for Senate. We have very prominent community people that come to judge this event at both the regional level and the state level. And they're very often real investors who are very interested in investing in businesses and startups. So it's a great opportunity, and I'm going to show you some case studies, some past winners, past participants who didn't even necessarily win the overall prize, but have taken off. So you get to network with other entrepreneurs across New York State. You get to meet some fascinating people, and you get to see some fascinating ideas if you get to the state competition and the regional competition. We had some wonderful presentations last year. So, and it's a wonderful educational experience. This is for anybody out there willing to sponsor the event, because this will tell you the benefits of sponsoring the event. And we will take checks at the end of the night if anybody would like to write one. All right, so it is a wonderful opportunity. These are the different sponsorship levels. So we are actively trying to bring sponsors in at the regional level. And we're hoping that after our great success last year that we will be able to attract some financial support for the event. So this is important. This is the timeline. The important things that you have to know for 2014. So would anybody like to get any coffee and snacks before we go into this? Or are you all okay? Okay. It's calling to me, but all right, so currently, you should be fine-tuning your idea. You should be working with your faculty or staff advisor. You should be thinking it through. You should be trying to take a look at the application and understand what's going to be required. Look at the template, which is in your folders. If you haven't taken a folder, please come up and get one. And that sample template, or just what the state of New York for their competition recommends that you include in your presentation. It is not by any means required, but it's what's recommended to be included. So you should start doing that, start fine-tuning your idea, and you have until March 14th to get it really tuned up as far as what you want to do. Okay, you don't have to have the slides done by then, but you should have your application done. You have to have your application done by March 14th. The application is in your folders, it's on the website. It can just be no more than 2 pages sent to me by email, and that's all you have to do. Okay, so just get me your applications by March 14th. That's a very important date. For the next 2 weeks, March 14th to the 28th, we'll be evaluating the applications, making sure you've got them in the right category, figuring out what category it should be in, evaluating whether it meets the criteria for the competition, and we will certainly notify the teams by March 31st as to whether or not you're going to be participating in the regional competition and how it's all going to work. The final slides, the final presentations are due in my office by April 7th. Okay? What happens on April 5th is I clean out my Lotus notes so that there's room for you to send me your presentations, and I expect them to all come pouring in on April 7th. Okay? And then the competition itself at the regional level is April 11th. That's a Friday. And it will likely start at 8 o'clock in the morning, breakfast. We feed you well. Okay? We want you to be happy and well fed. So we will feed you breakfast. We will register people, get everybody settled in, And we're going to try and have some simultaneous presentations going on. So we're going to break up our judging panel. We'll have it by category so that we will not have to keep you there till 8 o'clock at night. Last year it went on and on till like 8 o'clock at night because there was so many presenters and we did it all in this room. So it probably will not go past 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it may even be shorter. It depends on how many applications we get. We do want to have at the end of the day a nice reception with some more food. We had wonderful, I'm very food oriented apparently, but we had wonderful food at the end of the competition last year, and drinks, and it was just a very nice opportunity for folks to network. It was an opportunity for you to meet the judges, and the judges were thrilled to sit down and talk to people. They wanted so desperately to give advice. They were giving advice to the participants all day long. And these are, seasoned investors, so you really have a great opportunity to network. You don't have to stay for the entire day. You can come back for the reception, whatever works, in terms of your schedule. But we will announce the winners at the reception at the very end of the day. And hopefully, like I said, it should be mid-afternoon. That's what we're hoping for. And then we choose the winners at the event. The judges will, deliberate. We'll have the winners announced. We'll have certificates ready, and we will let you know what the next step is, which is participation at the state level, which is 2 weeks from our competition on a Friday in Albany at the amazing facility, the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering, which is fascinating to go to regardless. I mean, it's just an amazing place where they do all that nanotechnology stuff. And it's a full day. That is a full day. That's an exhausting day. I do warn you, it's exhausting, but it's an incredible day. So, and their food is not as good as ours, but they do give food. So it is a great opportunity though, and you get to meet amazing people. So we're going to talk about some of the folks who have won in the past in a moment. Now this is the judging. I don't love this criteria, I don't love this template, but this is what's used at the state level, so we have to use it because we want to make sure you're being judged the same way across the board. So basically they want to know that you have a compelling idea. That's number one. It has to be a very exciting idea or venture. They want to know who the founders or the team members are, who's your staff, who's on your team. And the quality of your presentation is going to be important, your pitch. And then they're going to judge you by, why is it you? Do you have the ability on your team? Do you have the passion? Who cares? Is there really a market for this, or is this, a pet rock? Although apparently there was a market for a pet rock, right? So I don't know. Most of you probably don't remember that. Do you remember pet rocks?
Sure.
Some people. And then so what? Does this team already have a venture in place? Is it already operating? This is where it gets a little tricky because if you already have something on the street, if you already have customers, you do have a leg up a little bit, okay? But they do try to, we kind of talk to our judging panel, and we're planning to really educate them this year to really look at the whole picture. We want to make sure that the pitch is taken into account, the idea, how compelling is your presentation, excuse me, how well thought out is your business plan. And of course, that is part of it, the presentation. For the overall best business plan, we haven't put together the actual template for this yet, and I haven't even consulted my team. I just sort of threw this up here so we can really finalize this. But I want to see a clear vision, mission, and aligned goals with the vision and the mission. Well-defined organizational structure. Evidence of efficiency and effectiveness built into the plan. Demonstration of leadership qualities on the team, and of course the same as the other judging criteria. Do you have the skills on your team to be successful? A strong culture that you're creating. Demonstrated understanding of the competition. That's important in a business plan. And good understanding of your financing needs and revenue projections. That's always the toughest one. That's a question they'll ask you. Well, what would you need from me? How much money would you need from me? You need to sort of have some understanding of what you would need and why you would need it. Okay. They're not going to hold you to it, by the way. So. And of course, a passionate and eloquent presentation. And this is the sample format, which is really hard to read, but it's basically the slides that I put on your folders. So you already have this. It's exactly the same thing as the slides. It's very confusing with all the numbers. I apologize for that. So I showed you some of this last year, if you were at the presentation last year, but there's a couple of new ones thrown in here. So these are the winners from prior years. And these slides, again, will be posted on the website, so if you really want to take a look at some of these websites, we're going to go through them really quickly tonight. The 2010 first prize winner was Best Technologies. Yes?
I'm sorry, can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
I'm Kat Scanlon from SUNY Ulster, and our school participated last year, and I was confused about some of this.
Okay.
Okay. The sample format that you have there, is that following along with the team application form here?
It follows along with the slides. It should follow along with the slides to some
Okay, so I
extent.
guess my question is, if you gave us a team application that looks differently, why wouldn't we use your sample format that you have up on the screen?
Well, the sample format is how you're going to kind of build out what's on your application. You're building it out in more detail, okay?
Okay, so this sample format then
Is really how your slides would sort of lay, and this is just a sample.
That's what I was confused.
Yeah, it's not a requirement in any shape or form. It's really a sample. You know, you don't have to follow this at all, okay? But this gives you some idea of how you could structure it. You're looking at your business, your mission, your business model, your actual product or service, the markets, you know, what is the market for it, the competition, who are the people on the team, your financials, and what have you achieved to date. That's just a sample layout, yeah.
The sample for the presentation, right?
For the presentation.
Right.
For the application, you don't have to go into this level of detail.
Okay, and then, again, obviously I was quite confused last year. Where you have the New York business plan, this is what parallels the judgment on the state level.
Yes.
And so this is like, tell me how this piece ties in with all of this, because this seems rather vague to me.
Yeah, and we agree. We have talked to the folks at the state level about that rubric.
Okay.
And I completely agree with you. So what we're going to do is create a rubric at the regional level that follows the guidelines for the presentation a lot more closely, and that's the overall business plan prize.
Okay.
But what the judges are really looking at, okay, these things have to be included in order for them to understand your product.
Right.
But what the judges are really looking at is, do you have the right passion? Do you have the right skills? Do you have a great idea? Can you make this thing work? And do you have anybody that's interested in it out there? Is there anybody do you really have any customers, and do you have an edge over the competition? That's really what they want to say.
So they're really looking for showmanship.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. That's not the whole thing. That's not the whole thing. Yes. No, I understand. It is confusing. It is, yes.
Just going back to ownership, if there's a legal entity that's doing business and has customers, if there's just a concept, are we talking about just authorship has to be 100% student, or do you
Yes.
have to create an entity?
No, you do not have to create an entity.
Okay, just authorship.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
When you say that the final presentations are due on April 7th, are you talking about an actual completed business plan, or are you talking about
Great question.
just slides?
Just slides.
Just slides.
We do not ask for a business plan, for the full business plan. Now, you can choose to have that as part of the learning experience, but they never ask for the full business plan.
Do they ever ask for the full business plan?
Well, that's a good question. I could ask that question at the state level, because they don't ask for anything. You could walk away with that $10,000 that you win and go to Vegas, okay? Not that I'm telling anybody that you should do that, please. Don't turn off the tape. But if you win the grand prize, okay, then there are deliverables, okay? So then there may be a submission of a business plan. Because with the grand prize, what happens, you're getting $50,000 in cash, okay? They're gonna give you $25,000 when you win. They're gonna hand you $25,000, you can go to Vegas, okay? If you want the second $25,000, you're gonna have to get deliverables. You're gonna have to come back to them in 6 months with a formed legal entity. You're gonna have to follow certain things, certain requirements. I don't know what all of those are, because it's the state of New York, it's the state level that handles that, but I could certainly find out.
Because it seems odd to call it a business planning competition if they don't actually have to produce a business plan in full. It just
Yes,
seems odd.
I understand. I know. Yes. That's what we've struggled with this. This is our second year. We struggled with that in the first year because there's a difference between like a Shark Tank presentation and a business plan. And this, I want to look at it as somewhere, it's really kind of both, because the learning experience is the business plan too. I mean, that's a huge part of it. And it also helps you to answer any questions the judges are going to throw at you. If you have a good solid plan, they're going to throw questions at you, you're going to have all the answers, right? Yes?
If you were to create like a product or a service that's a service, would that service have to be just in New York? Like if it was a store or something, has it to be New York based, or could it be?
This is to spur economic development in New York State. So they certainly want it to be a New York based business. But again, if you're not the grand prize winner, you know, I didn't say that. Do you know what I'm saying? We want it in New York State though, don't we, Yarna? Yes. Yes.
You know, at SUNY Ulster, we call it a business plan pitch competition, so that the students don't get scared that they have to write a full business plan.
Well, let's call it that.
So I've been calling it that.
We'll call it that. I can't change the website though.
Right. Can you go back to the slide before this, only because that one, just, okay, culture?
Yeah. Now, this is not written in stone yet. This is just sort of my thoughts thrown up here because we're going to solidify this a little bit when we get our whole committee. And I'll take suggestions. If anybody has suggestions, throw them at me because we haven't come up with the rubric for this yet. Yes?
So someone can come up with a business plan, but if it's not New York as its home base, that means they won't win at all?
It has to be New York business. This is a New York State business plan competition.
So would you be able to, so you won't be able to win the regional at all either?
It has to be New York State. That's one of the eligibility requirements. It has to be in New York State. Just open an office and we have an incubator downstairs. We'll incubate you. Yes.
One last question.
Yeah.
So say for instance, for the sake of this business plan's objective, say if you did construct it to be in New York, but realistically you decided we take this business somewhere else, or what if you expanded? Say your business is successful.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, sure. And you know, Startup New York. Go for Startup New York, tax free for 10 years, right? Yes.
You can start in New York and then do business in other places as long as the main source of revenue is based in New York.
I would think so. Yes. 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 Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. And then you're next.
For the nonprofit social end of it, you said that they expect, hypothetically, if you win the New York State prize, you know, the bigger chunks. Are they going to take into account that if you're going as a nonprofit, you're not necessarily going to be raking in you're not selling a product that's going to necessarily be like a return on that capital, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't really take that into effect. Like, so if you've got a really good non-profit plan, and this is going to impact New York State in an effective way, you know, and of course those funds are not necessarily going to be, you know, to buy things to grow a capital business, but to reinvest into it as a nonprofit.
They'll want to know you're sustainable.
So it's going to, you know, set the sustainability of it.
Sure.
They'll accept that as the.
They'll want to know you're not going to keep coming back to them asking for money.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
they'll take it as if you're recycling that.
That's what a nonprofit is.
I just wanted to make
Yes.
sure that, you know,
Yes.
the nonprofit, you know, kind of doesn't fit really with everything else that's up there. You know, the rest are, you know, expanding this, expanding that for business, social, you know, products, and then you have the one little category of nonprofit. Which
There was
of
some
course-
fascinating ventures in
I asked because
nonprofits.
that's what my.
And one of them won a very large prize last year, the one with the music, where you actually experience some of the music. It's an orchestral idea where when you go to an orchestra concert, you actually sit with the strings. You know, you buy a ticket based on which part of the orchestra you want to have the experience of being in, and you actually sit with them in the orchestra. So it was a whole cool idea, and you know, they're not raking in revenue really. I mean, it was really just this nonprofit, you know,
Like I said,
sustainable
I only asked
model
because
that they
that's
had.
what
But they had to
my
answer
nonprofit.
questions related to that. You know, how are you going to sustain your
Plenty prepared.
right? Very good. Yes.
What if the idea falls into more than one category?
Well, we'll figure out where you have the best shot. That's what I would do. I mean, because I kind of know what happens at the state level. And I would also ask advice at the state level because they have a lot of experience with that. And we get into that a lot with apps, you know. They were actually going to have a whole new category for apps because apps compete competing with like some really intense software development kind of thing, it gets a little crazy. But they didn't do that. They didn't separate it out. But you know, we get into some of those issues. But I would ask for advice at the state level for you, you know, on your behalf, because we're going to kind of, as a committee, look at them and try and figure out if they're in the right place. Any other questions before we show you some of the winners? And I don't want you to get nervous because some of them are pretty, you know, wild. Yeah, some of them I don't even understand. You know, it's like so high tech. I don't understand it at all. But this is Best Technologies won the first year. They were from the University of Albany, and they created anodes for lithium-ion batteries. And they had also, they got a $150,000 NSF grant after winning this competition, a $390,000 NYSERDA grant, and I think this is from last year, so they may have already gotten their seed round funding. And they do have a website, so if you choose to take a look at them, they are still in business. Then we have Helios, and this one I actually saw, because I was involved as of 2011. And Helios are students from Syracuse University. These were, I believe these were undergraduate students. Now this is the thing at the state level, okay? This is another thing I have no control over, so don't get mad at me. But at the state level, you have people who are going for an associate's degree competing with people who are going for a bachelor's degree, with people who have master's degrees, MBAs, whatever, to PhDs, okay? This is an undergraduate team who won this year. Strong Arm Technologies, I believe, was also an undergraduate team. But last year, a PhD researcher won, who was old enough to be some of your fathers. You know, so he had like 20 years of experience out there in the world. You know, and we're all looking at him going, what is he doing here? But he was a student in New York State, right? I think he was at Columbia or NYU, and he had a very cool idea. So anyway, yes.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Will an investor be willing to back up a winning idea even if it's an expensive approach, expensive idea, like to actually, you know, initiate it and make it happen? It's really expensive to do so. Will investors still be money?
Well, at the competition, they're not investing in your idea. They're just saying you won or you didn't win, and then there's money as a prize, basically. It's not like they're investing in your company. However, you're presenting in front of investors who may say, I like that idea, and talk to you. You know, you may have that opportunity. But I guess it depends on what kind of return would your business bring. What kind of an investment is it? You know, some stocks, you invest in Apple stock right now, it's a little more expensive than if you invest in, you know, I don't know, some other stock out there. Some stocks are more expensive, but people feel it's a good return on their investment, right? So I don't think that's a factor. It depends on what is this going to bring in. But they're not, I don't want to give the impression that these folks are going to actually invest in your business. They may, I mean, it's possible because you're actually interacting with investors. But what you're getting the opportunity for is to win a prize, to win in-kind services, cash prizes and legal services, accounting services, all different kinds of support for your business. Okay. So Helios is a UV light sterilization system for dentists, for dental practices. And they came in and they were, you know, a couple of, you know, young undergraduates presenting this idea. They had a fairly good, passionate presentation. And they had some letters of intent to purchase from some dentists in the Syracuse area. So they had already gotten out there and spoken to some dental practices. They had some folks ready to buy this equipment to sterilize their equipment, and they won. And this is their website. So they're still in business, and it's pretty cool. So you can take a look at that. So you'll see these were healthcare. This was a healthcare one. I'm losing control of my mouse. This one, I have no idea what this is. I didn't see these guys because I was in another room. I was a timekeeper in one of the other rooms, but apparently this was the nanotechnology high-tech winner. So they won in one category. From Columbia University, and they made steam heating systems more efficient And they won, after this competition, they won $225,000 at the 2012 MIT Clean Energy and Department of Energy Clean Energy Business Plan competition. See, this could also be a launching pad, you know, to go. So one of the guys that won this competition, or won in one of the categories, actually won an international business competition and won something like $500,000. So this is a launching pad. This is a great first step for getting your business started. And they now have 3 full-time employees in New York State, and you can take a look at their website. Strong Arm Technologies, these guys were the winners in 2012. These are the ones that had come back year over year. Here they are. They created a device. It's not like a belt. You know how you see those people wearing belts when they have to lift? Well, this is something that actually has elastic that comes out of your arms, and it forces your back to be in a straight position, and you're using your upper body to lift. And you know, they had UPS interested, FedEx interested, all these companies interested, because it would reduce their workers' comp claims and reduce injuries. And it was really interesting. It was really interesting stuff. So they were undergraduate biomedical technology students. And then this was the winner last year. And this was really interesting. This was a software company called Word's Eye. And what you do is you type, you have to actually put in information in order to try this, otherwise I would put it in, but I would actually try it for you. But you type in words, and the computer draws the picture for you. So they see it as like Instagram with drawings, you know, pictures. So you're IMing, but it's all visual, and it's very creative. And you can change the scene, you can add all different kinds of things to it. It's called Word's Eye. And this was 2 PhD students. One was an MBA student and one was a PhD student from Columbia University. So this is just an example of some of the stuff that was out there. But there were all different types of companies, all different types of things. In the social nonprofit category, there was an idea where you go down to countries, you know, developing nations or struggling nations that have just had a natural disaster, for example, Haiti, and you actually bring in bicycles and you power the village by having people take turns bicycling, you know, and powering energy, you know, getting light bulbs on with manpower, you know. So interesting stuff. There was everything, running the gamut, hydroponic gardens and high-rise buildings in New York City where you can grow vegetables all year round. I mean, it runs the gamut. Fascinating stuff. So I hope that inspires you. It doesn't scare you, because I think it's a wonderful opportunity and just a great learning experience. Any questions about any of it? Yes?
Doing a product and service, would you be able to bring in said product or service for the judges to try?
Absolutely.
And do you know how many there will be per pitch? Do you know how many people will be speaking to?
You know, I don't know yet. We have right now, let's look at the website. I'll show you what our judging panel looks like right now, but we're still, I have to get into my presentation. Let's just get into the website. It depends on how many applications we get, how we break down the judging panel, but we can let you know that. You know, we can kind of, as we get closer to the event. Once March 14th comes and we know how many applicants we have, we'll have a much better sense of how the whole day is going to work.
They also wanted to bring in wine, I think. Would that be allowed?
Well, they could bring in wine for the judges if they're over 21, but nobody else can. I think that would be allowed. I'll have to check. Yeah, it is, because you're going to have a brewery there, right? And you'll have students under 21 serving it, right?
We have special dispensation to allow them to taste.
All right. Well, they're not going to. Nobody under 21 is going to taste at Marist College. Let's get that straight. But I will certainly be one of the. I will be happy to try it, because I am over 21. So here's our judging panel right now. Okay. It will either be Sean or somebody from his office, but he's quite busy with his campaign. But we have a wonderful judging panel. And so I don't know, it depends on how it's all going to break down in terms of how many applications we get, and yes.
So in the application it said that the ones who are selected, they get the chance to work with a mentor or someone assigned to them to work on their plan. Is that correct?
The ones that are selected, we're gonna have the Small Business Development Center come and do some presentations for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my second question is.
You're their mentor.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. My
Yeah.
second question is, in terms of the judging in the different categories, are the judges assigned to the categories that they have experience in? So for example, the not-for-profit category, they have not-for-profit experience.
Well, we certainly try to do that. We'll try to do that. I mean, for example, Sean has all that food service experience, so he would be a perfect judge for, you know, a culinary type project, if he comes, because that's what he invests in. So we'll certainly try to make sense out of that, best we can, because he is a real investor in that type of business, so it would be great if we could do that. Yes?
Curious about the rice project that you just mentioned previously. What was that about? The rice, something about rice mentioned, and then you.
Rice University.
Oh, Rice University.
Oh.
Rice University has a huge business plan
Enormous
competition.
business plan pitch competition that is just astounding.
And we want to compete with them.
Okay.
Yes. We want to be better than them.
Thank you.
Yes. That's what it is. Yes.
In your experience last year, anybody who had was proposing an application idea, how advanced were they?
The apps?
Yeah.
They ran the gamut. There was one that I thought I voted for the People's Choice Award, because we get to vote for the People's Choice category. By the way, there's a grand prize. Let me explain how it works at the state level, and then I'll answer your question, I promise. So at the state level, you have in those 6 categories, you have a first place winner, who I think last year got 10,000. I think it was 10,000. The second place in each category. First place, second place was 5,000, third place was 2,500, I believe, and then a People's Choice Award for each category is $1,000. And then the grand prize winner competes with the first prize winner from each category competes, and they present again to the full judging panel, and then there's a grand prize winner. So they won their 10,000, plus they won an additional 40,000, and then $50,000 in in-kind services with winning the grand prize. So that's how the prize works at the state level. And those prize levels may be more this year, because if they get more sponsorship, they'll raise those amounts. But as far as I was the timekeeper for the IT software category. So I feel pretty confident that I can answer your question. Some were very simple. You know, some were very, like the idea that you'd say to yourself, why didn't I think of that? You know, it's like, and some were more complex. You know, it's just, it runs the gamut. There was one, for example, that was when you plan a trip with your friends, you plan a ski trip, and there's always one, you know, Joe that doesn't pay you right before the trip starts. And this is a way to ask for money or ask for payment in a very gentle, subtle way, and it's all electronic and it's through this app. I voted for that one. I thought it was the coolest thing. I can't remember what it was called and how it worked exactly, but it was really cool. So most of them were really kind of simple, you know, things that, like everyday apps that you would want on your phone, you know?
Right, okay. I meant more so on, like, was the app, like, did they have it up and running?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Was the app functional?
Not
from that
necessarily.
day?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
And by the way, IP, is anybody going to ask an IP question? You know, intellectual property? Because you don't want to present something, you don't want to present proprietary information. You don't want to present something that somebody can steal. Okay? You're not protected at this thing, okay? Just like any other pitch to an investor. So you don't want to give them your code, for example.
All right, that led me to my next question. So we need a patent before on any, no matter what it is, before we go in there?
No, just don't release any proprietary, don't give them your code. Don't tell them how it works exactly, you know? And if it's a fabulous, fabulous idea that's not protected, don't present it. I mean, I hate to say that because I want you to present it because you could win, but you have to present it in a way that you're not gonna compromise it. Okay? Maybe your advisor can help you with that too. And certainly, if you're in the process of getting a patent, that's great. Okay, or you're going for the patent, that's great. Yes.
Are there any applications that are rejected, not allowed to present?
Last year we did not reject any, and I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's possible that we could go back and say to the advisor, you know, this maybe needs a little work. You know, we don't want the person to get like eaten up alive. You know what I mean? We want to make sure they're ready for the competition.
And just perhaps a redundant, is there a confidentiality agreement in place? No. Okay.
No. So that's important to know. Yes?
So if you're partnered with another entity of some sort, is that because you're, and when I say partnered with, maybe a portion of the proceeds are donated to them, and that's it? Not necessarily part of what you do, but you say $1 of every item we sell this is donated to XYZ. Does that XYZ have to be in New York State?
I don't think so. No, because,
I just want to make sure because.
no, definitely not, because let's remember that bicycle example I gave you, they were helping Haiti,
Right,
you know.
just as long as everything else is based here, if you donate.
The revenue
out
is coming
certain-
into New York State.
Okay, but as long as, so any portion of your proceeds you can partner with someone goes out to them, that's not gonna affect you, as long as everything else is New York State.
I would say yes, you're
Okay.
right. And if you want to send me that question, I can send it to New York State,
Like,
but I don't see that as a
it's
problem.
such a small, it's like $1 from each item, so like the most being donated, you know, is maybe $200, $300 a year at this level, and you get bigger, but, so it's such a small amount, but it's still part of the plan because it's such a crucial part of it. I just want to make sure that's not going to disqualify.
You won't. Right? What do you guys think? No. I think you're okay.
I just want to make sure before
Yes.
I go through all
If
this.
you want me to confirm that with the folks in New York State, I can do that for you, but I really don't think that's a problem.
Everything else is
Based on
New York State.
all the teams I've heard present, and there were a lot of things like that.
They do have, you know, branches in New York, but they're based, the one I work with is based out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
We like the folks in Ohio.
Just saying.
That's fine.
Okay.
I think that's fine. Yeah. And it's about bringing things in for people to taste or try. I mean, last year at the state level, there were people wearing all sorts of crazy things. You remember, you weren't there, you were there, David, right? At the state competition, you weren't there last year. The people were wearing costumes. There was all sorts of crazy things going on. So they had these weird hats on with the little propellers flying around, and they were doing some type of party idea. I don't know. It was all, and one woman brought in cupcakes because it was a cupcake company. It was all different kinds of things. So, yes.
I'm sorry, this is probably along the same lines, but since it is nonprofit, once again, an educational brochure line, is it acceptable to bring a set of each of those brochures for each judge so they can see what type of,
Absolutely.
you know, stuff you're putting out there instead of just saying slides like, this is what we offer, but since you're not gonna go, because, you know, go over each brochure takes time.
Oh,
You
no,
know,
you
but
could
since it's
definitely.
short, you can hand it
You
to
could
them,
give
say,
out samples, you could give out brochures, you could give out your business plan. You could if you wanted to.
Oh,
Yeah, you could do that. Anything that's going to enrich your presentation, go for it. And we'll have you here to answer those kinds of, if you jump in, if you hear anything that you feel.
No, I'm soaking it up.
Okay. Because we are, and actually listening to all the questions will help us figure out maybe a good presentation for later. Because we're going to try and schedule something, you know, between March 14th and April 11th so that we can do some type of educational program for everyone who does apply and really help you fine-tune the presentation.
Can I add a little bit about
Sure.
the weekend?
Absolutely. Come on up. Come on up. This way I can go get some nuts.
All right, we're good. My name is Arnaldo Severus, and I have the privilege of running something called the Small Business Development Center. Basically, we are a consulting firm paid by the State University of New York and the SBA's hybrid state and federal program. What we do is we help people like yourself who are interested in opening a business, starting a business, or people who are already in business and for whatever reason they need assistance. And we help them. So what I really want to bring to the table is that we have research available. So if you are going to participate in the competition, I think it was going to be really cool if you do.
You should come here and speak in the mic.
I really think it's going to be really cool if you do, because this is going to teach you more than you could possibly think it will. And whether you win or not, you're already winners. I have seen grown men tremble at the thought of writing a business plan. I have seen people, intelligent people, really be completely confused at the prospect of writing a business plan. And yet, I cannot imagine anybody running a successful business without a business plan. Nor have I seen ever somebody starting a successful business and getting funds without a good business plan. So this is really going to be a hell of an experience for you guys. So if you participate, I would certainly encourage you to do so. Give us a call. I won't take you as a client. I can't, because I'm going to be a judge.
You can after it's over.
But I like my red wine dry. just in case. Hate sweet wine.
I agree.
Yeah.
Same for me.
So, give us a call. We won't mentor you. You have your own mentors. You have your own faculty support. But we will certainly guide you. We will try to bring an element of realism to the equation. I like what I see because it does. I participate in many other business plan competitions around this area. And this one has a sense of realism that perhaps was lacking in some of the other ones that I have participated in. I like that. I think that's a very good thing to have. So we can bring that to the table. We won't tell you how to write a business plan. We'll certainly support you. And we have business research available. It's a tool that we have at state level. It's really a tool for us as counselors to understand what's going on with a particular business. And basically, we have access to the same type of information that a lender underwriter would have to evaluate the viability of a business plan, which means it's just about everything that is published in terms of businesses we could probably get our hands on. Not original research, not equipped to do that, but we could certainly bring that element of research to the table. We would have to turn you into a client, which means you have to be 18 or older. And as long as your business proposal is legal in the state of New York, you're fine with us. All right?
Thank you, Ronaldo. Is there anything I should link on the website to your site?
I'll give you my phone number. If you have any questions, give me a call. Yeah.
May I have your name again?
Arnaldo. A-R-N-A-L-D-O. I'm the guy with the funny name.
Small business development.
And your last name is S-E.
The guy with the funny name.
Thank you.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
And my phone is 845, of course, 339-0025. Yeah. 339-0025. Now, I have to tell you, I'm a moving target. My job takes me to 7 counties around here. And when I'm not here, I'm in Washington. I like to be in Washington, but it's part of my job. So if you don't get me the first time, please leave me a message. I'll be very, very happy to support you. I have a lot of fun with this, so it's really nice. Let me give you my...
However, you cannot influence him in any way because he's a judge.
Except I do like my red wine.
Can you say your last name?
Separate. Ooh. I'll give you my email too. Wait. Yeah.
So you struggle with it too?
Can you guys see it on the other end? No. I'll add.
You know what? Let me make sure I didn't screw you up. I never sent any emails to myself, so.
That should be right.
All right, so it's SEHWEREA at SUNY Ulster WVU. All right?
7 letters of your last name and the first letter of your first name. So
Yeah.
you got 8.
All right.
Got it.
So feel free to give me a call. Again, I won't be able to advise you. It wouldn't be ethical. But I can certainly assign a counselor to help you out. All right?
All right, thank you, Arnold.
Cool. And do participate. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. So any other questions? I hope to see every single one of you at the regional competition. All right, with your brilliant ideas. Please take some food, some coffee, otherwise I'm gonna have to take it back and I only have this size container, so just save me enough to fill up this size container.